The Rumeli Fortress was conceived and built between the years 1451 and 1452 on the orders of Fatih Sultan Mehmed Han. The complex was commissioned in preparation for a planned Ottoman siege on the then Byzantine city of Constantinople, with the goal of cutting off maritime, military and logistical relief that could potentially come to the Byzantines' aid by the way of the Bosphorus Strait. Hence, the fortress's alternative name is the Strait Cutter Castle. Its older sister structure, Anatolian Fortress, sits on the opposite bank of the Bosphorus, and the two fortresses worked in tandem during the final siege to throttle all naval traffic along the Bosphorus, thus helping the Ottomans achieve their goal of making the city of Constantinople their new imperial city in the year 1453.
During the construction of this fort, 300 craftsmen, 700 to 800 laborers, 200 boatmen, carriers, carters, and deck crew were employed. It took about 4 months to construct this castle, only using this amount of people, which is an incredible feat considering how grand this fortress is and the importance of it during the conquest of Istanbul in 1453.
One thing about Rumeli Fortress is that there's a lot of steps here. Whether to go up or whether to come down. Right now we are going to the very first masjid that was made in Istanbul after the conquest. So this is a special occasion for me. So now we are approaching the Rumeli Fortress, and this is really important. When you want to understand the conquest of Constantinople in 1453, something really important took place, and that was the construction of the Rumeli Fortress, which you can see over there. Now, in the year 1394, Sultan Bayezid I built a castle on the opposite end. That was called the Anadolu Castle. And these are opposite to one another. And the strategic genius of Fatih Sultan Mehmed is that he built the Rumeli Fortress in the most narrowest area of the Bosphorus Sea. So from one end to the other, it's the most narrowest section of the Bosphorus Sea, of the Bosphorus Strait. Because if you look over here, and you look on the opposite end, it's so wide. But where the Rumeli Fortress is built, it's really narrow. That's why they call it the Strait Cutter. Now, why this was strategic is because, before I go into that, it took about 4 months to build this. And why it's strategic is because it's the narrowest point. So you got one castle that was built in 1394 by Sultan Bayezid I. Then you got the Rumeli Fortress here, built a year prior to the conquest of Constantinople. Now what happens is that this was built with the intention to situate the Ottomans on both sides. And what this does is it prevents economic aid and military aid coming from the Black Sea, coming from the Marmara Sea towards the Byzantine Empire. So that's what it did. So this shows you the strategic, the marvelous genius of Fatih Sultan Mehmed, who, again, Prophet ﷺ said that he is the best commander. The Amir is the best of Amir. Also, what's amazing about the Rumeli Fortress is that they say that if you look from above, the way it's built, it's showing you the name of Muhammad in Arabic. The strategic importance of this during the conquest, you cannot really put it into words, because to stop the aid, the economic aid and the military aid towards the Byzantine Empire, that's what made it very difficult for them to withstand the siege that they had to experience. And now you can see, so you have the Rumeli Fortress there, and behind this the Rumeli Bridge. So this is the European side. So again, you're moving on to the Asian side there. If you go over the bridge, that takes you close to Beykoz. Look how narrow it is. You know, look how narrow it is. With the Byzantine Empire, they are Orthodox Christians, so they tried to get some help from Rome, from the Catholic Church. And if you see one of the documentaries on Netflix, even though they had like a little bit of an alliance later on, they were trying to bring some aid into Constantinople at the time, but they couldn't get here on time to give them any sort of financial, economic, or military aid at that time. So it was very difficult for them. But Muslims, for many centuries, they were trying to run after the prophecy to conquer Constantinople. Now there's another prophecy, which is to conquer Rome, which will happen eventually, because prophecies like this do come true, especially when Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is telling us. So that's something that we got to keep in mind. So Muslims strive for that, and they were able to achieve it, you know, within a few centuries. So let's see over here. You have Rumeli Fortress there. It must be going through some sort of restoration works, and then you've got the Rumeli Bridge there. And by the way, this is Bebek, this area here. And we were here a couple of years ago. I really enjoyed it. It's like such a cool area. Like it's not so crowded, because if you go to the Golden Horn area, it's really crowded. Over here, it's like less crowded. It's got good quality of people over here. You know, you see a lot of people running and doing some jogging over here. And you've got some nice cafes on the opposite end, just like below the Rumeli Fortress as well. So even to view, like, I really like this area, and I've spoken with my family that I would like to spend some time here, maybe just get like an Airbnb and just stay over here, and enjoy the blue Bosphorus Sea. And there it is, Rumeli Fortress. When I see this, I imagine victory. I see the signs of victory looking at this. MashaAllah. Now just imagine, it took 4 months to build this. And in spite of that, it's been here for like 570 plus years. You gotta hand it over to them. Like, done a magnificent job in keeping this over here. I think the Rumeli Fortress has three towers to it. 3 important towers to it. Now, when you go to Rumeli Fortress, you have some good points up there where you can get good views of the Bosphorus Sea and of the opposite side as well. So the views are really nice to see. The entrance ticket, I can't remember how much the price is specifically if you're buying it as a single ticket, but it's not so expensive. I remember going there, it was really, really inexpensive to go into Rumeli Fortress. But do check it out.